It's Rubio.
Trump rallies have been infamous for having a lot of madness going on at them. So-called violence. A lot of hecklers show up to bully Trump supporters. Here's one example. Here's one racist black man.
Get him out of here. Get him out.
Let's see, where is he? He's probably a racist, interrupting the Trump event. It's very sad when racist blacks, they're so obsessed with race, they're racist, that they see racism where it doesn't even exist. You'll see him up close. So this is one. By the way, this is another example of black privilege. Look, yeah, another example of black privilege. It's where you spend your whole life claiming that you live under white supremacy, that you're oppressed, yet you scream and shout with the confidence and lack of a sense of worry that really counters the idea that you're oppressed in the first place. You know, if you really were oppressed, you know, maybe when there was slavery, you knew that if you acted like this, you'd probably be going to get a lynching. Instead, in modern times, you're so privileged that you can act a fool and actually you get rewarded by white liberal media, because now that you got kicked out of a Trump rally, you can go get an interview. Hey, maybe you can even have your own little Facebook page or something, and you might reach a little stardom. Just play the victim in front of the media. So that's another example of black privilege. You know, the freedom to call white people racist, yet act as if they're not going to harm you in any way, shape, or form. So a lot of madness at Trump rallies, and the media doesn't know, hasn't really known what to do about this, because on one level, you have Donald Trump, who is holding rallies. This is what presidential candidates do. And literally, since almost the beginning of his run for president, going back 8 months or so, Donald Trump has had hecklers and protesters interrupting his events. It's been an ongoing thing for months at almost all of his events. And the so-called violence that the media talks about, here it is Donald Trump inciting violence. A lot of times the mainstream media doesn't tell you that a lot of the tension that's brewing at Trump rallies is because hecklers have made themselves infamous, interrupting his rallies over and over and over again. So it's gotten to the point where people are just tired of it. And you know, I was watching a video. It's actually, I'll put the link below. It's a pretty good video to watch. A couple Trump supporters trolled a Bernie Sanders rally. And a couple Bernie Sanders people, they say something quite interesting. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Beaten up right now.
If this is people...
Stop being a racist.
And we were collecting money for Bernie at a Trump rally, he'd probably be beaten up right now.
If this is people from a Bernie at the Trump, they wouldn't be, you know, tolerating, the Trump people wouldn't be tolerating this. So we're tolerating you guys being
happened
here.
in Chicago? Did that not happen?
Racist.
And we were collecting money for Bernie at a Trump rally, he'd probably be beaten up right now.
Basically what he's saying is that Donald Trump rallies are so violent that if Bernie Sanders people were collecting money for Bernie at a Trump rally, this complete idiot, he supports Bernie Sanders, that explains why he just made this false equivalency, this complete failure in logic, that the Bernie people would get beaten up. Because Trump rallies are so evil, hateful, bigoted, and violent. But that's not true, because it's a false equivalency. Number one, you're comparing apples and oranges. The majority of the violence that takes place, it's not really violence, it's actually self-defense against the hecklers who interrupt Trump speeches. These pro-Trump people are outside the event. They're not really interrupting anything. There's a line of people waiting to get in. These people are not halting the line from moving forward. They're just interviewing people and telling them jokes on the side. As compared to a heckler standing up in the middle of a Trump speech, screaming and shouting, and literally refusing to leave until he's physically removed. There he is. Here's the man with his extremely potent amount of black privilege. Again, I mean, I love the irony. White people are evil. They're trying to kill you. Yet here you are in a room full of hundreds of white people. And let me tell you right now, the reason he's standing here so fearlessly is not because he's a courageous guy. He's fighting against those white supremacists who are going to lynch him if he dares speak out. It's not because he's courageous. It's because he knows that 99% of white people are harmless. In fact, 99% of white people are guilty cowards begging for forgiveness to not be called racist. This man is not courageous. He relies on deception to act like he's such a strong and courageous person. Again, it's just more black privilege. But so again, do you see this? And you can see him. He's actually talking back, and he refuses to leave. Look, he's screaming and shouting. He's not moving.
Get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out of here.
Trump has to tell him to get out because the guy wouldn't leave. If you did not defend yourself against these heckler bullies, they would literally stand there and scream and shout for the rest of the day. So you have to do something. And that's what the mainstream media has been trying to do. They've been literally trying to flip reality. Now they're trying to suggest, and they've been doing this for like 2 weeks now, is Donald Trump inciting violence. They're literally trying to suggest that kicking hecklers out of an event is inciting violence. So by these morons' logic, if I went to a Bernie Sanders event and I stood up and started to scream and shout and interrupt it, by Bernie Sanders supporters' logic, you fucking idiots should just let me stand there, scream and shout in perpetuity with no repercussions. Because, hey, if you kick me out of your event, that's because you're a bunch of intolerant, hateful, bigot, racist, right? So, they have to flip reality. All right? The majority of the violence at Trump rallies is self-defense. And the majority of self-defense is prompted because hecklers interrupt the speech. What are you supposed to do with hecklers? Oh, well, that's right. According to Bernie Sanders, when two racist black women from the Black Lives Matter movement interrupt your speech, you're supposed to give them the fucking podium.
I thought that was disgusting. The microphone, they just took the whole place over. That will never happen with me. I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will, but that was a disgrace.
No wonder they hate that Donald Trump rallies don't tolerate hecklers. Because their little idol Bernie, set a precedent for being a pushover coward. And now everyone else has to be a pushover coward. Now, if you deal with hecklers and kick them out of your event, thanks to Bernie Sanders, that makes you a racist, hateful, violent inciter of violence. So Bernie Sanders, the weak boy Bernie Sanders, set a precedent where defending yourself against bullies is inciting violence. So, it's just like fuck these fucking people, man. They have to use a complete inversion of reality. They literally disregard the chain of events leading up to Trump supporters getting angry and kicking out the hecklers. They just show the Trump supporters kicking the hecklers out. They don't show the hecklers screaming and shouting and interrupting in perpetuity, refusing to leave. So it's such blatant lies and deception. And it really just shows you how desperate they are. That without taking it out of context so much, they have nothing against Trump. They have to flip and invert reality. Take everything out of context and then suggest that Donald Trump and his supporters are the violent ones because they defend themselves against professional hecklers. That's how desperate they are. And that just tells you how invalid most of their criticisms of Trump are. They have to resort to lying in order to get any decent attack on him, i.e. is he inciting violence? And how many fucking idiots believe these headlines? A lot, because most people are misinformed, unfortunately. So, I just had to get that off my chest. Bernie Sanders supporters are literally the scum of the planet. Not all of them, but I think most of them are because, I used to like Bernie, in the sense of he seems like a principled guy you can trust. But, you realize that when he says things like white people don't know what it's like to be poor, when those two racist black women from the Black Lives Matter terror cult bullied him, instead of defending himself, he literally pissed his pants and apologized to his oppressors. He apologized to the people bullying him. And why did he do it? Not because he's a compassionate guy. He did it because he wanted black votes. So after that, I just realized he's a disingenuous asshole who perpetuates anti-white racism because he wants a few black votes. What a disgusting weasel Bernie is. And by extension, his fans. So, that's all I had to say on that, guys. I'm just... Whew. It's such a blatant 2 + 2 = 5 effort that I don't even know what to say about it. It's just I guess all I can do is pity these idiots. They really are some of the weakest people on the planet. That's why that's the only reason they would follow such a weak man like a weak boy like Bernie Sanders, because they're so weak. These morons literally say that kicking a heckler out of a Trump event is violence. And the really fucking annoying part is that if I were to go to a Bernie event now and stand up and start heckling the event, they would probably beat the crap out of me and then say, oh, but the only reason we're beating the crap out of you is because you've been beating the crap out of us at Trump rallies. Well, yeah, because they've been interrupting over and over again. Yet they're going to still try to take the moral high ground and say, oh, but the only reason we're doing it, we tolerant liberals, is because you intolerant fuckers did it. That's it.